ready?
Yeah, you're gonna talk to me?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you. You know. So, Chief, when did you start arm wrestling? You remember the first time you ever saw a table?
You know, I saw a table in 1988. There was a South Windsor National Championship. I read it in the paper, and I said to my girlfriend I wanted to go up and try it. And we went up there, and all these people were there that I know now, but nobody knew me. And I pulled, and I beat a kid named Jerry Cole, who was quite the champion at the time. And a gentleman who recently passed away, Mickey Buckus, Psycho, came up to me and he goes, "Who are you?" You know, and all this stuff. He just opened up and said, "You know who you just beat?" And no, not at all. He's just like, you know, and he gave me some sort of, confidence. And then this big musclehead snapped his arm, and the whole venue sort of emptied out because of a real loud one. And he's screaming bloody murder, so everybody's like, ah, you know. So that was my first exposure. But I didn't do anything or see anything again until 1999 in Cromwell, Connecticut. There was a state championship, Josh Stark and the unified Connecticut team back then. And I went in and I won one of those big arms, the clay ones, you know. Real cool trophy, third place in the amateur class. And that got me kind of fired up and into it. And I went back the next year or something. And basically in 2000, I beat everybody in the amateur class, which back in the day put you in the open class. So you didn't have a choice. And I showed up at the open class and got whooped, just 2-0. And got invited to a training out in Bristol with the unified team. I started driving out and training, and within a very short period of time, I started placing and winning in the open class. And it was 170. It was 198 at the time. But then I chiseled down and went to the 176 and started dominating. And a lot of the 176s moved up, and it was just weird how the fabric of Connecticut arm wrestling changed. And then I dedicated myself. The trainings started happening at my house because people were calling up wondering, what the heck are you doing? Because you've just been killing everybody. So I didn't know really how to sum it up, but I would invite folks over and we'd have, some workout, some training table time. And we did that, and that became a regular thing. Now it's been over 20 years every weekend, with the exception of traveling or tournaments, locally, stuff like that. So that was very cool. But back in the day, in the early to mid 2000s up to even 2010, if you went to a major event in the world, in the nationals, every top dog in the United States was there. And they were in their respective weight classes, and the best guys in the country won the national championships. In the world class, it was very similar because most countries gave great prestige and even quality of life to the champions in their respective sports. If you're an arm wrestler for Russia, it's not unusual to be on TV and hang with royalty, get better living conditions and food, things like that. Everything you need as long as you're winning. So it was very important to them. So, dedicating myself to it and then having people come to me instead of me going to people, I don't know, it kind of gave me an edge in my opinion, even though I've been blessed with a knack as well. I've always been pretty powerful at arm wrestling in high school and against my teachers. And when I beat my father, who was a big 250-pound Polak, he's a monster. And it was pretty interesting because I was still, a 180 guy at the time. So, but yeah, and the world class was the same way. You would have, Vovoda and Pushkar and some Plankov, all at the world championships, vying for the top dog in the rankings. And nobody stayed home because there wasn't a paycheck, and nobody stayed home because there wasn't going to be cameras on them and stuff like that. It was very telling. Of course, the exposure was different. So now it's, It's easy to get exposure. It's easy to even manipulate exposure to look like the best. There could be 10 different world championships at this point. However, maybe this is like a transition getting back to the point where there'll be a time when the national best guys in the country can come together and wrestle for representation in the worlds and perhaps some money so that they don't sit at home because it's worth something. Because that seems to be playing into it a lot. But with social media being involved and stuff, why not? Why not make it happen in ways? If we can find a way to make that more consolidated and less spread out with all the individuals, So yeah, it's transitioned over time in a big way. And so I think that the evolution of super matches has been very entertaining, but it's telling in a very different way. I've always been one to say that I love a 25-man deep class, and double elimination, you go through a war, and at the end of the day, you're standing on a pile of carcasses going, what the heck happened? I've always felt really awesome about being that guy many, 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 many times during the heyday, And I haven't been as active for quite some time now. I seem to still have a great passion for the sport. A little less great passion for the preparation for the sport, but I'm smart enough and powerful enough to work with a good group of young warriors who want to make something of themselves. And I know that because they keep returning. And if somebody keeps returning to a practice, there's something seriously wrong with them. So I appreciate the efforts. Yeah.
There you have it, folks. Thanks for watching the first episode of Chitter-Chatter with the High Chief. Now, if you have any more questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to ask the Chief on the next week's episode of Chitter-Chatter with the High Chief. Thanks again, and I'll see you around.